Hello students, let's continue with our module 1 where we have already done with your how to have a product planning. Then we spoke about labeling, we spoke about packaging of the product, and we also spoke about marking. But all about this, we need to brand our product into a market with a specific name, logo, design, so that our product has an unique image in the mindset of the people. And that's the reason why we need to make extra efforts to create our brand into the market. So before we go ahead to know in what way we can create the brand, let me first tell you what do we mean by the word branding. A brand can be a name or a mark intended to identify the product and differentiate it from competing products that we have. So when we talk about Cadbury, so Cadbury is a name of the company and Dairy Milk becomes their brand. So along with Dairy Milk, nowadays they've come up with a lot of varieties. To talk about Dairy Milk with Oreo, Dairy Milk with Silk, and so on and so forth. So once when you create a brand, it becomes very easy to come up with a lot of the extensions of those brands, and the same customers are carry forward or are encouraged to purchase the other brands that you're introducing into the market. So it's not only about the name, but it also about a particular mark for that matter. So when we talk about Nike, nowhere they mentioned about the brand Nike, but the tick mark, the correct symbol itself talks about, itself denotes the brand Nike, which has been used up to a larger extent for sportswear or sports related products that are sold into the market. So that is how the brand creates a good amount of marketing, good amount of promotion of a product, and it helps the company to sell their product on a large scale basis. So the second point talks about it can be a sign, symbol, design, so that we differentiate our brand with distinct. We have a separate identity as compared to the competitors into the market. This is a definition given by American Marketing Association, where they define a brand as a name, term, symbol, design, or a combination of all of them. It can be either of it, or maybe a collaborative efforts or collective efforts of all these things that we have intended. Their main identity, their main objective is to identify the goods or services of one seller or a group of sellers and to differentiate them from those of the competitors. So keeping this objective in the mind, the branding of the product or services has to be taken care of. So, what all are the factors that will affect the branding? So, these all are the factors that will affect the branding at large. Let's discuss it one by one. So, to start with it, we have the kind of customers that we are going to deal and on which the branding is going to have a major impact. So, when you talk about customers, they are the king of the market, and we need to manager, we need to change our tactics depending upon the customers that we are dealing into. So, if the product is made for teenagers and youngsters, the brand name needs to be allocated very much trendy. I would like to give you the example of the company Titan, who comes up with various brand depending upon the age group, depending upon the occasion, and depending upon who all are the customers. So when you talk about Titan, they have a very trendy brand like Fast Track. I hope you all are aware, you all have seen the products of Fast Track, which are very much colorful with the colorful belts and a different dial altogether. It's not typical common with black, brown, maroon belts that we have. Because when we are dealing with teenagers, when we are dealing with youth, the color, the kind of product that we are going to sell into the market must be very much attractive and catchy. Along with that, the Titan comes up with another brand name as Raga, which is sold, which is actually given as a gift, especially during birthdays, anniversaries, and all. So they have come up with a different brand altogether. For office goers and professionals, they have come up with a brand called as Citizens or Casico. These are the various again brands of the typing. So depending upon the customers, they have come up with different brands. Further, we have a corporate name branding, which may be considered as a name of a company should also be attached with your brand. For example, it is a very common example which has been adopted by Tata Groups. So they don't want only their brand to go ahead with it, but also their company's name. So many of the brands that you have seen, which talks all about Tata Steel, Tata Sky, Tata Salt, Tata Consultancy. So everywhere, if you see, they are trying to make their brand, they are trying to create their brand depending with attached with their company's name that we have. So this is how the corporate name branding as an important factor will also affect the brand image of the company. Further, we have the competition. In today's competitive market, there is a need to differentiate the product from other competitors. To differentiate the product, the company needs to highlight the product's special features that could benefit the customers. Therefore, there is a need to have a separate brand name to enable the customers to identify the brand. For example, when we talk about the brands of Hindustan Unilever, HUL is again a renowned company which introduces a lot of FMCG products. Along with that, even in FMCG, if you talk about the bathing soap for that matter. So in that also they have number of brands which are sold in bathing soap as well. For example, you talk about the hammam soap, which is mainly talking about killing germs. But on the contrary, when you talk about Lux, it talks more about making you look more beautiful, more attractive. So two different brands, two different features, they are competing with each other, but at the end of the day, they belong to the same company named as HUL. So you can, one company can come up with different brands, especially to chase the competition. So it's like they're trying to create the intra competition to win the market outside the company. So this is how the competition can be one of the essential or crucial factor that can affect the branding of the company. Further, we have the company resources. Resources plays a very crucial role because based on that, we will be able to frame out how much money that can be spent to create a brand. A huge amount, a huge financial resources need to be allocated to create the brand into the market. So higher the financial resources, higher would be the branding. Lower the financial resources, needless to say, we will have to look out for other alternatives to create a brand. It might take some time, but yes, without creating a brand, or maybe we can have a concept of umbrella branding, where one product, one advertisement, where one advertisement, multiple products that can be advertised. Maybe around 10 to 12 years ago, there used to be one beautiful advertisement of Amul. And maybe that advertisement used to last for around 1 minute or half a minute or so. And they used to advertise all the products that have been offered by Amul company. We talk about ice cream, cheese, milk, buttermilk, and you name it, and you'll be able to see all those products into that advertisement. So they don't want to spend multiple sources of money for advertising, but at the same hand side, they also want to promote about their products, all the products that they are trying to offer it to the customer. So yeah, company resources again matters to decide how are we going to create a brand into the market. Further, we have market area and size. So the brand name may be selected depending on the area where the product is marketed. For instances, if the product is marketed in Europe, the brand name may have some good meaning in English or other major European languages. So we need to know the culture, we need to know the values that customers get it, and the customers have it. And based on that, we will be able to create our own brand and market it in their area. So there can be chances that the same product, the same brand might have been marketed with a different name in some other country. Then we have the next one is nature of the product, the kind of product that we are trying to sell it into the market. So when you talk about selling a fairness cream, you need to come up with a brand, we need to come up with the name of that product, which will have a connecting factor. So when you talk about Fair and Lovely, so we all know that we apply fairness cream to look more beautiful, to look fair, to look beautiful, you know. So that is how the name that has been given is Fair and Lovely. And also both these terms are being used especially for females. And that is the reason why people had a perception that this fairness cream is meant only for females. So what about males? So at that point of time, the same company came up with a new product called as Fair and Handsome, which the word handsome was used for males, and therefore the same, maybe not the same cream, the packaging would have been changed, but who knows what is inside, right? So just by changing the name, they created a new brand, and thus a new set of customers who have been targeted. And let me tell you, because of which the demand for the products was also high, and thus the sales also started increasing. Further, whatever we spoke about branding so far, it's not that we are talking it unofficially, we can just name it and it's done. No, there are a lot of legal formalities that have been that has to be followed, especially when we are uh, coming up with our own brand, when we are coming up with our own logo. A proper verification has to be done whether we are not copying that. It's not like we are intentionally copying it, but many a times, knowingly, unknowingly, if we are taking someone's else brand as our own brand, it might lead to some, criminal this thing. So at that point of time, we need to verify, we need to register our brand, our logo, our design, and that becomes our brand that has to be marketed into the among the customers. So these all are the factors that will influence the branding of our product. Okay. Let's go ahead. This is something very beautiful. These all, from now, we are going to talk about different types of brands that have been created. Okay. And everywhere I am trying to give you the actual real case study based example so that it will help you to remember it. So the very first type that you have is individual brand names. So what does that mean? A multi-brand company may adopt individual brand name for different products. Companies may use different brand names for different quality products within the same product class. Let me tell you. Now here, this was more or less the same example which I gave you earlier, but once when the image is in front of you, you will be able to connect it very well. So this HUL power brands, HUL Hindustan Unilever is a company, and these many are their toiletries. So when you talk about Lux as their soap, Ayush as their soap, Dove as their soap, and also for that matter, Lifebuoy as their soap. So all this four, there are many more over here, but as of now, I'm just going to take this, or maybe even Peers for that matter. So at least if we talk about this five bathing soaps, which actually belongs to HUL. But yes, they have different brands because they are being used for different purpose. They have been featured, they have been highlighted for different reasons for that matter. So when you talk about Pures, it talks about making your skin more soft. It talks about making your skin just like a baby skin, you know. When you talk about Lifebuoy, you talk about keeping yourself clean, you know, especially a good fragrance that can come and, you know, things like that. When you, again, more or less Dove, it's again make your skin very soft. But here they are talking more encouraged into the softness part of it. Ayush is more or less having more of, chemical free bathing soaps. And Lux is their very first brand, and which is there from ages for that matter, which talks all about the soaps which have been used by actors, or celebrities, and all such things. So every four different brands with their individual identity are being placed in front of the customer. So now you just think over whether a customers are attracted to purchase Lifebuoy soap or Dove soap or Ayushka soap. At the end of the day, the profit is going to go in the pockets of HUL company, that is Hindustan Unilever company that we have. So this is how a big companies, when they have big resources, when they need to come up with different products, so that they can give varieties of um, different products to the customers, and at the end of the day the big companies will tend to make the profit. This is the very first type of your brand. The second one that we have is blanket corporate name. What do we mean by that? This approach is followed when a company uses the corporate brand name for its diverse product categories. So here we are talking about at least one thing over here in the individual brand name. You're very clear that HUL deals only with FMCG goods. But here in blanket corporate name, we are talking about different products in different sectors altogether. So this particular image gives you a very clear idea. See this. We have Tatas over here at a main center point. Then it has been bifurcated into metals, into IT, financial, automobile, retail, infra. These all are the different sectors where Tatas have started introducing their money into it. Now, when you talk about IT, so we have Tata Consultancy Services, we have Tata Exley, and we also have Tata GlassEdge. So these three brands the Tatas have created in IT sector itself. So when you talk about automotive, we have Tata Motors, we have Tata Autocam, we have Jaguar, and this one more brand. So this is how in that particular sector, multiple brands have been created. We can't compare all these brands together because they are from all different brands. But here, Tata's what they have done, they have kept one thing in common is this Tata. So that becomes like a blanket, that becomes one common blanket that they want to put it on all the brands that they have. So you talk about Tata Steels, you talk about Tata Consultancy, you talk about Tata Capital, Tata Motors, or many other brands that I have given it below. That is how the blanket corporate name is again one of the different type of branding that can be used. Further, we have corporate come individual branding. So we need to talk about name of the company, and also we need to talk about name of the brand. So here there is a combination of company's name as well as the individual brand name that they want to create it. So when you talk about Cadbury Dairy Milk, you can see Cadbury as their corporate name, their company's name, and Dairy Milk as their brand. So this is how they have clubbed together, and both the things are getting a more popular and more better image into the market. So here also we talk about Cadbury Celebrations. We talk about Cadbury Bonvita. So both the names are always been clubbed together and identified. Further, we have the fourth one is family brand names. So Amul is something which has been there from ages into the market. And if at all, if you have known the history of forming the Amul, it is like typical family-based business, and it has become a huge empire right now. So earlier they started with a typical selling of milk, but now, if at all, if you see, it has completely dairy products, a hub of dairy products that they are trying to offer it to the company. You talk about Amul Cool, Amul ice creams, Amul cheese, Amul butter, and so on and so forth. So this is how a particular brand that they have created for a complete set of products that they are trying to sell it into the market. So that is what is all about the family brand names. Further, yeah, different brand names in international market based on what kind of a country, what kind of customers that they're dealing into. So Nestle has come up with their own brand of Nescafe. But again, as a Nescafe, they have 100 different brands which are sold in different countries depending upon the liking of the customers. So you can see here we have Nescafe Gold, Nescafe Original, we have Nescafe Cap Colombi, we have Nescafe Altarica. So this is how the type of brand keeps on changing depending upon the country that we are dealing into. Then next we talk about the brand which has been created based on the founder's name. There are certain people, certain founders who are very much concerned, who are very much attached to their names, and they want them to be remembered even after they have gone. So we have a founder, William Colgate, who have introduced the toothpaste Colgate, and he has given his own name to the brand. So today, we may not even know that there does not exist any meaning for Colgate. But still, today, people remember, people use the word, use the term Colgate because the founder member wanted his name to be placed, to be created as a brand for a toothpaste that we have. So this is how we can create a brand based on your founder's name. There are certain brands which are very, again, easy for consumers to retain and remember, is based on numbers. So we have Britannia again is a company, but they have come up with a brand called as 50/50. So it's very, and there are a lot of promotional tactics which are taken place, especially during the cricket and all 50/50. So this is how it becomes very easy for people to remember. So this only the numbers can be a part of brand. Then there can be certain combinations of numbers and names. So we have 5-star, again very easy to remember. We have 7-Up cold drink, though now it is not gaining a lot of importance, a lot of corporate image, but still people do remember it, and which has a combination of number and name. Further, names communication to the attributes. What do we mean by attributes? Many a time we are not aware about what is the product up to or for what purpose that we are going to use this product. But many a times the name or the brand that has been given to the product, that itself says everything. So when you talk about the example which I've given, Fair and Glow, Fair and Glow tube that we have. So we don't need to ask anyone ki iska kya fayda hoga. So the word itself says that it will make you look fair. It will help you to glow your beauty, you know. So many a times based on your name, based on the brand of the product, people will able to understand what is the product for. So these all are the types and varieties of brand that can be created into the market. Further we go, that is all about the branding. Further we go and try and understand the concept of pricing. So what do we mean by the word pricing? It is a process of determining price at which a product is brought or sold. So it is very important to decide the price of the product, because based on that only we will be able to decide whether the product is saleable into the market or not, whether customers can afford to pay that much of price for a particular product or not. So yes, pricing plays a very important factor for selling any kind of goods and services to the consumers. So pricing is a process of determining what a company will receive in exchange for its product. Pricing is a fundamental aspect of financial modeling and is one of the 4 or 7 P's of marketing mix. Yes, I need not explain you separately the 4 P's of marketing mix: price, place, promotion, and people. So price is one of the important factor among this 4 P's that we have. So let's understand the very first part of it, that is, what are the objectives of export pricing? We need to be very clear as an exporter. What is our intention? What is our objective while deciding a price for a product? So the very first point that we need to think about is a survival. So every good businessman tries to cover up his break-even point at the initial stage. So what do we mean by break-even point? It is a point where there is neither a profit nor a loss to a company. That means whatever money that an exporter has invested into the setting up of business, he should be able to recover that. So every businessman wants to do that. So the price must be set in a such a manner that loss नहीं होना चाहिए, but at least जितना पैसा डाला है उतना तो मैं recover कर पाऊँ, and whatever you want about that, that becomes your profit. So survival plays a very important role. Then we need to talk about the profit objectives. Obviously, we are running the business so that we can earn the profit, we can get the profit out of it. So we can have 2 objectives based on profit. The very first one is return on investment. A number of firms fix their prices to stimulate consumer interest in their brand over other competing brands. Attractive prices results in higher sales, which in turn help to achieve a certain level of return on the investment or return on capital employed. This in turn will help a firm to achieve its one of the overall objectives of enhancing shareholders' wealth. So it's not about just earning the profit, but it's also about the shareholders who have trusted the managers and the company to invest their money. So it is the responsibility of the exporter to earn the profit and give back the share, give back the dividends to the shareholder. The secondary objective will be profit maximization. That means to maximizing the profit so that to get much profit as much as possible. Profit maximization does not necessarily involve fixing higher prices, but low price may also get higher sales and thus the higher profit. So these are the 2 objectives that one has to keep in mind in terms of profit that we have to achieve. Further, we have sales objective as well. We need to increase the market share so that we can be there into the market for a longer period of time. And depending upon the income of the consumers, the exporter needs to take a call on pricing. So when we talk about Indian consumers who are more price sensitive, so charging high price will not lead to higher sales. Vice versa, if the price quoted is less in foreign countries, needless to say, people will start questioning about the quality that has been offered in terms of product. And thus again, the sales will go down. So that therefore, knowing the income, knowing the spending patterns of the customer, the exporter needs to make a thorough study and then need to come up with a suitable pricing strategy to increase the sales of their product. Further, competitive effect objectives. Needless to say, whatever our objectives are, we cannot neglect the price structure framed by our competitors. Again, that does not mean that we need to blindly follow what our competitors are quoting the price. No, we need to make a thorough study what others are charging, what we should charge, how much expenses that we have made, how much that we need to recover, what is the profit margin. All this needs to be calculated, and accordingly the price can be quoted to the customer. Further, early cash recovery, yes, there are certain strategies through which we can try to recover our cash at the earliest, and which is very much applicable for those goods which may not have a long period into the market. Something like technology, fashion, which keeps changing, which keeps becoming old very soon. So we need to come up with certain pricing strategy through which we will be able to recover our cash at the earlier stage. Further, this I'll not talk to you right now, because when we discuss about our marketing strategies, we'll be talking about marketing skimming objectives in detail. Yeah, to have a different image, separate image, or maybe for that matter, a superior image, a premium image into the market, we may have to quote higher price so that we win the hearts of the customers, and we uh, uh, we gain the trust of the customers to prove that we offer them a better quality products into the market. So this is how we can come up with our own distinguished image into the market. Market entry barrier objectives. Yes, there are certain companies who change the complete market. The best example that we can give is Jio. So when the Jio was introduced into the market, I hope you all remember, they used to offer of or maybe some 100 rupees or 200 rupees that they need to pay, and a completely free usage of data and phone calls, maybe for 3 months or 5 months or something that they used to give. And let me tell you, it has really hampered the complete telecommunication industry for that matter, because people have started quickly switching over from their regular card to the Jio. Or many a times people used to save both the numbers, So I am sure even you all would have experienced it. Maybe you have already saved the number of your friend as XYZ name, a new Jio card, XYZ Jio. So this is how, looking at Jio's scheme, Jio's plans, other telecommunication companies, you talk about Airtel, Vodafone, or other this thing that we have, they were forced to change their plans also. And if they would not have done that, today every customer, every people would have had only Jio in their hand, and others would not have been able to survive. So that is how the benchmark was being created by Jio in such a way that it really restricted the entry for other telecommunication competitors to come in, and those who are already existing, it was very difficult for them to survive. So it was a huge change of game plan that was created by Jio once they were introduced into the market. So these were the objectives of export pricing into the this thing. Further, we go and we talk about what all are the factors influencing export pricing. What all are the factors, what all are the reasons that will affect or that has to be considered when you talk about export pricing. So there are certain internal factors within the company. There are certain factors that those are to be considered. And then there are certain factors which are outside the company, but which cannot be neglected, which are to be considered while fixing up our pricing. So let's quickly talk about the internal factors. So the very first one that we have is a cost. Obviously, whatever that we have spent, whatever that we have incurred our expenses, utna to apne ko recovery karna hi hai. So cost is nothing else but the expenses that have been incurred by the exporter. So that they have to calculate, that they need to keep a proper record so that they can tally whether that they have earned or not. Further, the credit policy. That means in what way the customers are making a payment to the exporter. Credit policy talks all about, in semester 5, we have said that importers have a credit policy, or importers are given a freedom to make a payment to the exporter within 180 days period of time. So within that 180 days, if he pays in the very immediately, if he makes a payment, a concession can be given because the credit period is nil. But if the importer takes the full benefit of that 180 days, some minimum extra charges are charged. It's a very common logical concept basically. Suppose if I am the exporter and particular importer makes a quick payment to me, I'm going to put that into the bank, and bank is going to give me an interest on that. So me as an exporter, why should I leave my interest? Okay. So today when importer will make me a payment after 180 days, so for that 180 days, which I could not, with the interest which I could not get it from bank, surely I'm going to take it from my importer. You're getting? So higher the credit policy, higher amount that the importer needs to pay. Lower the credit policy, no credit policy, comparatively some concessions can be given. Further, yeah, higher image, needless to say, higher price. Because to create that image, they had to call a lot of brand ambassadors, good amount of promotion, good amount of marketing activity, marketing tactics have been done, and this all are not done at free of cost. So when this brand ambassadors charges crores of rupees to create that advertisement and market that particular product, all this money they have to recover it from the customers only. So higher the image, higher will be the price. Further, we have the objectives of the firm. So we need to know what is the objective of the company or of the exporter while quoting the price. So the objective is to earn higher price at the initial stage. They may go for the skimming pricing strategy. Whereas on the contrary, if the objective is to retain into the market, but not to earn the profit, then they may go for penetration pricing strategy that they have. Okay? We'll talk about both the strategies in next upcoming slide that we have. Yes, very important is what product that you're offering to the customers. And let me tell you, the best example, again, we can take it was COVID-19. So during this COVID-19, a huge amount of oxygen cylinders were required. There was a high need of medical equipments and ailments and all such things. So at that point of time, even people were ready to pay a huge amount of money just to get their things done. So if your product falls under essential category, even if you quote higher price, people are ready to purchase it. On the contrary, if your product lies into luxurious sector, and if you quote high price, people may think twice and thrice before directly purchasing it. So yes, depending upon the product, depending upon the necessity and essentiality of the product, you may decide what price that we need to quote. Promotional activities, yes, very simple thing. There are a lot of products, what we get it at a very nearby retail stores at a very nominal price. And many a time, the same products are offered at a very, maybe multiple 3-4 times the higher into the malls or big marts and all, just because a huge amount of money is spent on promotional activities and to develop that particular mall or to maintain them, it requires a huge amount of money. So higher the promotional activity, higher will be the charges. Then we have the product life cycle. So product life cycle basically has 4 stages: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. So it's very common. I'll not discuss that in detail, but when you know that your product is at a decline stage, so how do you realize that it's a decline stage? No one is ready to purchase the product. Sales are going down. There are a lot of competitors who are new competitors are coming into the market, and you're not able to chase that competition. So this itself shows that it's time for you to withdraw yourself. So come jitna, even if you get 1% of profit, that's the best thing that you can have, and you should slowly and steadily start withdrawing from the market. And you may think of coming up into a new market or introducing the same product into the new market. So that is how I just gave you the example of decline. But in the same manner, you can think or you can read about what strategy that can, or how the price may fluctuate from introduction to growth, growth to maturity, and finally maturity to the decline stage that we have. So these all are the internal factors that will surely affect the export pricing. But as I said, along with the internal, we also need to consider certain external factors as well. So the very first external factor is the competition that is going on into the market. So higher the competition, I'm not saying you need to quote high price, but yes, you need to see what price that they are quoting. We need to make a thorough study about how they are changing their pricing strategy. And accordingly, we may try to quote, we may try to strategize our price for that matter. Then we have consumers. What kind of consumers that we are dealing into? So if we are dealing with the customers of US with a higher income, there is no harm in charging high price. So that is one thing. Demand, higher the demand, higher will be the price. None of the exporter will be will always try to take the advantage of the market when people are demanding on large quantities. Slowly and steadily, they will also increase the price. Yeah, we need to also check on to the economic conditions that is prevailing into the country. If the country is undergoing a recession or a financial crisis, it's always better to keep a mediocre or a moderate pricing rather than quoting high prices. Then we have channel intermediaries. Higher the chain, higher the middlemen, high number of middlemen involved in selling the products, that much price is going to increase. Directly when we are purchasing from the manufacturer, obviously the price that they are going to quote will be very much minimum, because it's going to be only one person who is going to charge their profit. Financial incentives. Yes, exporters do get a lot of incentives. And once when they get the incentives, I'm not saying they may forego the profit, but where they are trying to charge 10% of profit, maybe that percentage level can shift from 10% to 8%. Because that 2% money, the profit, they are able to earn in terms of incentives. So these all factors need to be kept in a mind before we are introducing or before we are charging any price into the international market. So yes, many a time this is a very common question that has been asked into the exam. दोनों एक साथ नहीं पूछा जाएगा. They may either ask you explain the internal factors affecting export pricing, or they may also ask you explain external factors affecting export pricing. Either of. Okay? Yeah, this is again one of the important and a very favorite question of the university, that is various pricing strategies. Okay. So, and this is something that you need to remember, even when you're studying your masters in marketing and all, this is the basic tactics which are practically being used into the market, into the live market that is going on. Okay? So the very first strategy that we have is skimming pricing strategy. We talk about having early profits. मतलब जैसे हम market में introduce करते हैं, we charge high price so that we can earn a good amount of profit. Now the question arises, why we need to charge high price? एक तो ठीक है profit earn करना है, but very important thing is because that particular product will not be there into the market for a longer period of time. वो product market में ज़्यादा दिन तक नहीं रहने वाला. So we have only short period of time to earn the profit. And with that intention, we charge higher prices, and people are also very much keen to purchase it because that is a recent trend which is going on into the market. So there are certain people who want to go with the flow, who want to be connected with what is going on currently into the market. And with that all intention, they try to purchase such products. That is what it is all about, skimming pricing strategy. Then we have penetration pricing strategy, completely opposite of skimming. Skimming mein they charge high price, penetration mein they charge low price. Now, what is the intention of charging low price? Because they know that we have a good amount of time in future to earn the profit. I'm not saying that they are making their loss and selling their products. No, they're trying to earn a very minimum profit, maybe a 2%, 3% of the profit. Okay. So for what goods it is suitable, especially for those goods which will have a long lasting life. Here, I would like to give you an example of maybe DNA newspaper. I remember when they started selling it into the market, they had sold it for ₹2 or so. And once when people got used to their language, their paper, their kind of news and kind of sections that they used to make it, people started demanding DNA over many other old newspapers that they have because they got used to it. So in penetration, earning profit is not their primary objective. Making people used to your product is their prime objective. And once when they are used to your product, slowly and steadily, you will start increasing your price. Because aadat lag gayi hai, they don't want to change it. And thus, they don't mind spending something extra. That is what is all about your skimming pricing strategy and penetration pricing strategy. Why am I stressing on this two only? Because very likely chances short note के लिए 5 marks के लिए सिर्फ skimming pricing strategy के लिए या penetration pricing strategy के ऊपर question पूछा जा सकता है. Once or twice they have also asked about distinguish between skimming pricing strategy and penetration pricing strategy. So all in twist and turn करके कैसे भी पूछा जाएगा. Once when you are thorough with the concept, you will be able to write the answer in your own words. Further, we talk about prop pricing strategy. Let me tell you, prop pricing strategy is more or less same like your skimming pricing strategy, except for one small difference. I'll tell you what. Prop pricing strategy may also they charge higher price at the initial stage, but not with the intention of product purana ho jayega, product will be outdated and then will not get a chance to sell the product. No. Prop pricing may they charge high price just to see the reaction of the customer. And based on the reaction, the company, the exporters have a freedom or take a charge to revise their prices also. See, if in prop pricing, if they charge high price, when they charge high price and people are ready to purchase it, nothing like it. People are happy, we are also earning profit, end of the story. But tomorrow, if people are not ready to purchase our product just because they feel the price is high, we are liberal enough to change or fluctuate our price. That is what is all about the beauty and the difference of prop pricing and skimming pricing strategy. Further, we have follow the leadership pricing strategy. What do we mean by that? A lot of newcomers, when they don't want to put any efforts to know how to quote the price and to calculate and all such things, they will blindly follow the leader's pricing strategy. They will not see how old we are. Why will people think of spending so much of money for our product? No need to think all such things. They just blindly follow the price quoted by the leaders into the market. That is what is all about your follow the leadership pricing strategy. Then we have standard export pricing strategy. That means no matter whichever country, no matter whichever customers, whichever market, we just want to follow same pricing all over the world. And this particular strategy has been adopted by Coca-Cola and Pepsi, which have been sold all over the world. with the same pricing. So when we purchase, we feel, oh, why we have to spend so much, 100 rupees or 150 rupees or so many things. But if you convert the same 100 rupees into dollars, it may come somewhere around $1 and few cents for that matter. Getting so it is very cheaply available when we are offered it in different countries that we have. So standard export it's a common price all over the world. Yeah. Further, we have trial pricing. Trial pricing is same like your penetration pricing strategy, except for add-on thing that trial is, the word itself says, try करने के लिए देख रहे हैं. But here they quote low price and see whether people are liking it, people are ready to purchase it, or how is it. So trial mein quoting high price, seeing the reaction of the customers, and then taking a call whether we are going to continue with the same low price or we want to change it and make it high price. Now you may also think, "Arey, low price hai, so why will people not purchase?" But as I told you earlier, there are chances that people might have a fear in their minds that it is made up of inferior quality, and that's the reason why they are selling it at a lower price. So with that intention, the trial pricing is just to see the reaction, and then the variations can take place. Further, we have flexible pricing strategy. What do we mean by that? The seller, the exporter, is flexible in terms of pricing to the customers. And a very beautiful example is for the loyal customers. So those customers who regularly come to me and purchase it, एक दिन अगर पर्स नहीं लाया है या छुट्टा नहीं है, 1-2 rupees here and there, I may say, okay, chal, forget it. It's okay. You to come daily. What's a big deal? Don't give me today. That's a flexible pricing strategy. एक कस्टमर के लिए अलग प्राइस, दूसरे कस्टमर के लिए अलग प्राइस. Then we have differential trade margin. What do we mean by that? A lot of times the offers that have been given, 50% discount है, एक के ऊपर एक free है, या 5 rupees off, 2 rupees off. These are the different trade margins that have been given. Especially it comes to clear out the remaining stock, because when they know that the deadline is very soon or the expiry date is very soon and they want to just clear it off, these all other trade margins or discount offers have been offered to the customers with the variations of profit margin. I see the companies are very smart. They are not going to make their loss and come and take the product. No. Some variations in the profit margin. Till earlier, where I was ready to earn somewhere around 10% of the profit margin, now I'm reducing it to around 4% or 5% of the profit margin. But I am not giving it away. Okay, further we have transfer pricing strategy. This actually needs to have a proper idea about what is it. So we can just skip this off and then maybe sometime later I'll try to explain. Differential pricing for different markets. Yes. A lot of times this is a very much suitable for products like vegetable, fruits and all such products. Now, there are certain products, you talk about vegetables only, when we purchase it from some vendor who is near the station, he might give you some variations at rupees 4-5. And someone who is at the interior, thoda sa, gate ke nazdeek hai, ya station se dur hai, he might charge 5 rupees, 7 rupees extra. So why there is same product, but different market, different prices that they are charging? It's just because there are some add-on charges of logistic that they have to recover. So many a time, this vegetable vendors and all, they come down from the train directly station के बाहर ही अगर ठेला डाल के बैठना है, they are not going to need any extra charges for that. On the contrary, train से उतरने के बाद रिक्शा लेके थोड़ा अंदर चल के आना है, अंदर जाना है, that rickshaw fellow is going to charge me whatever 30, 40, 50 rupees. So they have to recover that 50 rupees also while selling those products to the customer. So that's the reason why product remains the same, but different market may alag pricing that they try to charge. So these all were the pricing strategies that have been channelized, that have been offered by the exporter in the international markets. So that is all for today. Next time when we meet, we will talk about Incoterms, and I'll also show you how to do the sums of FOB. Thank you so much.